As we mentioned earlier, you are currently sitting on death row. What led you to being locked up?
Um, Today, I can say that growing up in a household, a dysfunctional household, I seen my stepmother, jumping on my mom. I seen fights. I seen uh, a lot of street fights and that type of activity. You know, and I grew to believe that that type of activity and then being in the gang was normal. We normalized it. You know, criminal thinking, criminal activity. We normalized it. So, you know, what we call then proving ourselves and proving we were down and assaulting other people and you know packing them out, so to speak, jumping on people or socking people out and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that came with the territory, and then it became a us versus them type of mentality. So that, you know, growing up seeing it, growing up involving myself in it, being a product of it, being a part of it, um, normalizing it, it comes with also making poor decisions. And once you normalize it, it's almost like a wave. And I attribute it to like a wave at the beach. The wave comes in and the wave goes out. The wave goes in and the wave goes out. So when it's normalized, you're going with the flow. You're going with that flow. And so we see nothing wrong with it. We see nothing wrong with robbing people. We see nothing wrong with running up on guys and shooting at them or running up on somebody and jumping on them or, you know, taking, taking property from individuals and all that. I was sentenced to death for I got convicted of two murders, and that's what landed me on death row.
What is one thing that you wish someone taught you or told you during this time to make your time growing up, a little bit easier, a little more palatable?
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that question now. Thank you for asking, man, because um, growing up, my grandparents would tell me things, and I thought because I was younger and they was older, they didn't know what they were talking about. Um, and I talked to many people, man, and the one thing that I would have wished that people or someone would have sat me down and told me before I joined the gang what the gang life was really about, what was really happening. There is no success rate in the gang. There no one sat me down and told me that, before you get jumped into this gang, here's what you stand to lose. You stand to lose your life. You stand to lose your freedom. You stand to lose your family. You stand to lose anybody that care about you. You laying it all on the line for individuals that appear to be in your corner, have your back, uh, only to find out that's not the case. So I wish someone would have sat me down and told me what the success rate was of a gang member. Because the success rate of a gang member is minus zero. It's in the negative. There is there's no way, no right way to do the wrong thing. And growing up in that lifestyle and joining these gangs is definitely doing the wrong thing, man. And it gives you a false sense of um, supreme power, and you will start to believe that you can do anything you want. And then, you learn that the hard way that that's not the case because you end up in jail, you end up shot, or shot at, you end up stabbed or jumped on, you end up, you can end up killed or in prison, not including death row.
Yeah. Now let's talk about what was going on in your life just before you caught the situation that landed you where you are today. What was going on in your life then?
In my life, um, nowadays, I refer to today when I talk about back then a lot because I understand things a lot more now than I did back then. I was what you would call straddling the fence. One foot was in the gang life, and the other foot was in the family life. I had got married.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Before I caught the charge, like I was saying, I was married. I just had got married, but I was still, addicted to the street life, criminal activity. You know, gang banging and not so much gang banging, but active in the street life. And like I understand now, like all things, you can't do good and bad at the same time. You can't do negative and positive at the same time. It's just not going to work. I know now, but I didn't know then. And I was just trying to find my way, trying to be a better person, but still getting caught up in what I what I what I gave my heart to. I gave my heart to the street, and it wasn't worth it. But back then, you couldn't tell me that because I was in it, and it's just like that wave that I talked about going back and forth. It's not until you wake up and realize that what you're doing is wrong when you start to feel that clash with that wave. It's no longer a solid system for you no more. And so I didn't catch on back then, man, and I just kept doing what I was doing and hanging around the people that I was hanging around. And I'm a protective type of person, so I learned how to fight really good early. And my thing is, anybody that I cared about, because there was no hugs in my household or I love yous in the household, growing up, I would fight for the people that I cared about. That was the way that I showed my love. That was the only way I knew how to show my love. And so um, every time I did that, I got myself caught up in some kind of way. And here's another example of me um, going into somebody's defense and then, suffering because of it.